Welcome back to Okaloosa Today, and I have with me our guest today is Commissioner Wayne Harris. Welcome.
Thank you, Kathy, very much.
I thought we'd talk a little bit about District 1, a little bit about the future, and a little bit about our past. How about that? We've been doing this a while together.
I can probably do the past because I'm old, but that's...
Let's talk about some of the progress in District 1 right now with stormwater.
Well, stormwater has been very successful for us. You know, we've completed the Duke Field wastewater to our Benny Pritchard, and we're working on the Camp Rudder, and that's almost done. And those four is an $18 million contract. There's two more left. That's Eglin, Maine, and I believe Plough are the other two that's left, right. And they'll be coming up very soon. But when we do all those, when we complete those actions, when water and sewer completes those actions, that'll be a big money savers for the ratepayers of Okaloosa County.
Right, and good for the environment. And again, this was an Eglin project that was really getting rid of some obsolete sewer systems that they had, water and sewer systems that they had. So good all around.
It's good for everybody. It's good for the county. And it shows good partnership between the county and Eglin as well.
Right,
I think.
Right. Now, and then the Camp Rudder and Duke, those actually tie into the 7th Special Forces pipes that we laid several years ago.
Right. That was a 7-mile lay, and it saved tons of money. I think $4 or $5 million in costs we saved by doing it ourselves. It was just a great opportunity for us.
Good. And there's a few other ones throughout the county that are long overdue, so I know that there's still more to do out there.
Stormwater is the 600-pound gorilla in the county. We've got about, I think, somewhere near $50 million worth of stormwater repairs that we need to take. You know, one of the important things is we've got to capitalize, we got to fix is any of the estuaries and the bays and the Gulf, the water that goes into it on a regular basis, and we're not going to do it until we fix all our stormwater.
Right. Good point. So yes, that'll make all of our waterways healthier.
Right.
And we have a restore application for one of those, Lake Pippin.
Lake Pippin area, and right now, I think it's the northern side of that. We're going to do away with the septic tanks, which will be good because that's right on the water there. And right. I know those people. A lot of the people have talked to me, although it's not my district. Those people, I've got friends that live there, and they're just anxious. One side's anxious, the other side's reluctant. But I think once they see the vision that we've got and the ease of it, I think you'll see that they'll really appreciate the fact that they're no longer on septics. I wish we could do it the whole county, but it's just not cost effective.
Well, of course, we're still waiting final approval.
Well, that's the workshop we're having in the fall sometimes, and the Restore Act. And I want to take a minute and talk about the ORAC, the Okaloosa County Restore Act Committee. What a phenomenal job these professionals did for our county. I was part of the process of selecting the folks, the differences of people that are in various businesses and backgrounds and statutes of places where they work and stuff. And we have got a phenomenal committee of folks that have really taken it on personally as their project and have done a tremendous job of doing it well.
You're absolutely right about that, and it took a lot of time too.
Yeah, this whole process has taken a lot of time. The Restore Act is something that I know we're moving forward on it, but I think Okaloosa County, the Florida is going to get about $5.5 billion. Unfortunately, we were hoping to get $88 million, and we're going to get somewhere near $35 million. Not even close to answering the problems we have with stormwater. And that's going to be quite a while. So the money that we get from the Restore Act is going to be, well, it's going to be, first of all, it's going to be paid back over, they'll pay it back to us or pay it to us over 15 years at about $2.3 million a year. Not a big impact to our budget, but it's certainly better than nothing. I looked at, my dad who used to always say half a loaf is better than no loaf.
Yeah.
That's half a loaf. Actually, it's less than half a loaf, but I look forward to that. I think that
means those projects really have to be scheduled then, doesn't it?
Over the years, we're going to have to protract the scheduling of those projects out over the 15 years.
Right.
And even then, it's going to be actually more than 15 years because it's going to be a year from the time that the committee approves them or the people approve them. So 12 months after that, whenever that's going to be. So it could be 16, 17, 18 years before. And then not only are we protracting the money, but we're going to have to protract the scheduling of producing the repairs and the replacements and stuff like that. It's significant. The minimum we could have got was $22 million. We got 35 million, far less than what we thought when we'd get 88 million out of 5.5 billion dollars. It's not something I look forward to, but again, a half loaf's better than no loaf at all.
Yeah. And of course, then going back to Restore, we just remind everybody that they divided those projects in 2 categories. They had small projects for $90,000
and large projects for over $90,000. And again, those folks did a phenomenal job of really paring down the ones that are important, or they look important to the county. No personal gain from any of this. It was purely based on merit of the submittal. I've had the opportunity to talk with a few folks on it that for instance, from Matrix Sound and Jim in on this issue, and they really pared it down well to where they're really important issues that are going to do well with this money, and it's going to be a big help to them.
And to our community. I mean, there's some great projects in there, and even though it wasn't what we wanted, I mean, I think our communities are definitely going to benefit from those projects as we can get them done.
Again, a half a loaf is better than no loaf at all. At least we're getting something out of it. You know, of course, it doesn't pay back the monies we lost with during the tourist season. I mean, even though our beaches didn't have a lot of oil on it, in fact, very little oil.
Yeah.
It started when I was actually chair. It was the first time I was chair, and that started in the middle of that chair.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that.
I vividly recall that. But I think the Restore Act is, with what the ORAC did and what the county's going to do with the workshop, I think we'll find ways to plug some of the holes that we've got.
That sounds good. And of course, all these projects can be seen on the county website. All of the members of that ORAC committee are listed there, so you can get all of that information. It's very, very accessible on our website as well. And the workshop's in the fall.
That's correct.
Okay,
to be determined.
So that'll be really the final selection approval process at that time.
Right.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to it too.
Yeah, and that'll be open, of course, to the public. Now, speaking of these water projects, you know, let's just touch on future water supply. I bet that's something that a lot of people really don't talk about, but actually the county has been talking about it for a while.
I think 2007, 2008, right before I got elected. I know the county's done a phenomenal job at that time. My predecessors went out and viewed a lot of areas to where how they took the commodity of water and made it viable for the community, and that's exactly what they did. They went out and visited, I think, Georgia and Alabama and a few other places around the United States, and looked at what was best or what was not best, and put together a project or a plan to do ours locally. You know, we are blessed. We have the Florida-Georgia aquifer underneath us, but you know that could run out just as easily as anything. But we've done some great jobs with not only drilling wells but doing some offline water. For instance, the 4 grants we received, the Corps of Engineer grants that we got for buying property. I'm really looking forward, because when I really want to retire one of these days, that lake is going to be about, if by air it's about 2 miles away, but by driving it's about 5 miles away. But I'm always looking for another place to drown some worms. So I'm looking forward to that lake that's going to happen. We bought 2 big pieces, I think in excess of 300 acres from High Seal Timber and from St. Regis Paper Company, and the lake's going to be right in the middle of that. And we're going to extract it off the river on high, when the river's high, not when it's low. We're not going to, we're not going to downdraft it. We're going to take it right off the top and put it in there. It's also fed by streams. The lake is, so there'll always be water in there, one capacity or another. But I think the neat thing is and we get some high waters on those rivers, and coming off the Shoal River will be a great asset to us.
Matter of fact, I think they're planning on just pulling it out of the Shoal Creek. So
maybe as opposed to just the river itself, it could be. I mean, I know that it comes right down there by it. So
but same thing. But
Well, during seasons of rain, that river fills up all the way up to the bridges and everything else. So we're not going to lose anything. It certainly won't hurt the environment in any way.
Well, Water and Sewer Director Jeff Luttrell, he's the one who told me very early on when I first started working there. He said, water is a finite resource, and that's something that really stuck with me, that I I don't know if I ever really thought about it, but you know, water, people don't, they turn on their faucet, they just think that the water will always be there. As long as it still rains, I just thought the water would always be there, but that's not the case. Water is a finite resource, and that kind of stuck with me.
Remember the movie Dunes? I mean, that's what it was all about.
Yeah.
That is truly liquid gold. I mean, without water, we don't survive, and
No,
we have to have it.
and look at what's happening in California and some of our other states that are
We're
actually
blessed.
fighting.
We're truly blessed.
So right now we don't need water, but I'm really glad that that we've been able to secure this land to do this offline water reservoir, which will be really, we're looking at years, what, 2025?
Oh, well, yeah, 2025 time.
yeah.
It's in the planning
Future.
process for
Very
future,
much the future,
water use.
so.
So I'll be a really old man by then, but
Yeah.
I'll be willing to get out in a boat and drop some lines in the water.
Yeah,
So that's
so-
what I'm looking forward to.
So no water shortage yet, but all right. Well, I remember some of those tours, and I was actually going on some of those. So so that was a while back. But as we move forward, this is your final year as commissioner. Any thoughts on that?
There's a bittersweet. It's a bittersweet movement forward, if you will. I've got some great times, and I've had some pretty tough times. I can recall vividly that I volunteered to go to jail if they're going to make me stop doing something to the East Pass. It was a tough time. There were some times, but overall, there's been some phenomenal people. We've got a great board right now. We've had some great people in the past that have really, I think, really took their responsibility, their fiduciary responsibility, serious when they were on the board. They took their elected and their constitutional position very seriously, and I applaud all of them because there were some phenomenal people. Some of them taught me tremendously. Some were my mentor, and others, you know, we got along. But what we realized is that, you know, it's part of the process is you have to learn to compromise, because sometimes you want something and sometimes they want something, and you have to be willing to come to a middle to where you can agree on things. If we all agreed, how boring would that be? I mean, that would absolutely horrid as far as I'm concerned. But you know, we've got some roads yet to do. I've got a few things that I want to get done in my district. We've made great successes. I have to congratulate Jeff Luttrell and his people at Water and Sewer. Also have to congratulate and thank Jason Autry, and previous to him was John Hofstad. Some roads that were tremendously problematic for us, and still we got a lot of roads that are problematic, but we've come such a long way. You can ask Mary Carson, my assistant, this. When I first got elected the first year, I'd get on average 10 calls a day, 7 days a week, and Mary would handle them so professionally and so well. But that has slowed down because the people have really aggressively went out there and tried to accommodate the roads. We've changed the way some of the procedures we do to fix the roads. We do some great things now that we didn't do before, and I just think they're doing great.
Well, very good. And I know that this is our centennial year. But before we get on to that, let's talk a little bit about, you know, Bob Sykes Airport was one of those projects that was near and dear to your heart. We've got some time.
I didn't say that,
Wayne,
but that is probably the biggest project that I had.
You want
as
to
you
talk
recall,
about some of those
sure, I'd love to.
accomplishments and what that means to you?
What we've done out there, and actually, it's not me. I'll tell you that as the chamber director at the time, we had an airport committee that really, I think, really helped the process along by showing support from the Crestview area and the community. The chamber was a big part of the process of growing that. I really have to thank Tracy and Mike and at the time Greg Donovan for the permitting stuff that they went through. I mean, the water permitting, all the different permits that you have to get. You know, Water Management District, DEP, even EPA to some extent, and some of the other county permits that are required just to put a business out there. Now, as you can, you know, we have a shepherding program to where I call it quick turn. It's an old Air Force term, but I call it quick turn. You can build a business out there from planning to turning dirt. You can go in 4 months, and growth management will help you through that process. And that's what I'm really excited about. But the capstone to all that is the Foyshaw Industrial Parkway that's coming in there off 90. That will truly open up the south end of the county, and then the other part of that is the completion of Fairchild Road, the dirt portion of Fairchild Road, the 2.2 miles of Fairchild that will be completed this year, or as long as we don't get any weather events, it'll be completed this year. And that is going to really open up the 435-acre industrial park that we have in the North County, and an airport that is, you know, 8,100 feet long, It can accommodate any airplanes. We put new taxiways in it. We put literally millions and millions of dollars. The county is the people we're talking about putting in there. And the airport people have done such a great job of keeping that in the forefront. That is to me, that's the true heart of what we can do industrially, or at least commercially in our area. And then you add the fact that the Gulf Power had it certified as a certified site, one of only a few in the state of Florida. That means the 435 acres is really primed to be a big business economy mover out in the Bob Sykes Airport. And I have to thank, the people, Bob Sykes and Foy Shaw and a few other folks that were, in 50s, had the vision to know that that was an important aspect for this county.
That's
and
right.
They made it happen.
Yeah, very good, very good. Any thoughts on our centennial 100th birthday?
It's funny you mention that, because I'll have to tell you that when I took over the chamber in 2000, one of the first things I did is I pulled all the historical documents, all the folders, all the things, and learned a little bit about the Maypole family, the people that are actually founded it, and how we got straight lines on our county and why we've got them the way they were, and how the powers changed from the north to the south part of the county. But a lot of things have come a long way, really a long way. And I think the best way to do that is this I want to call it a poker run, but that's not what you call it, Kathy. You briefed us the other day, this going around to all the different locations.
Yes, Experience Okaloosa.
Talk about that a little
bit,
would you?
I will. I'm going to talk about that game. And
well, I look forward to that, because I'm thinking about riding my bike to each of the south and then each of the north. I don't want to take the car. That's the easy way to do it. But thinking about taking my bicycle.
Okay, well, anything else before we close and move on? I'll update everybody on the centennial.
Thanks for giving me a chance to talk about how great our county is and what we're doing and how well we're doing it.
Well, thank you for joining us today, Commissioner Harris.
Thank you.
And we will move on and talk about Okaloosa County's centennial. And Commissioner Harris did touch on some of these things. September 7th, 1915 is the founding date of Okaloosa County by the voters. And it was created from portions of Walton and Santa Rosa County. And its name of Okaloosa is believed to have Indian origin, meaning Blackwater. So our county is 100 years old. We have been celebrating all year, and we'll officially celebrate our centennial when we have an open house this month at the new Okaloosa County Administration Building in Shalimar. So please join us on September 15th for a tour of the new building and some birthday cake. And as Commissioner Harris mentioned, we have a Experience Okaloosa game, and so look for that game board to be printed in the Northwest Florida Daily News. Experience Okaloosa is sort of a passport game where you visit various events and activities and treasures throughout the county. So now through November, you can answer questions and get a stamp and move on to some wonderful prizes at the end of this game. So many thanks and recognition to all our supporters from the city and the county. I also want to thank the Greater Fort Walton Beach Chamber of Commerce and Nick Dzinski of Pioneer Technologies for designing and producing the game, and to the Northwest Florida Daily News for printing Experience Okaloosa for us. So, and before we go, and I do not want a hurricane on our centennial year, I'm just saying that out loud, but I do want to remind everybody that this is our prime hurricane season to the end of November. So make sure you have a business plan and a family plan, and if you need help with that, you can download our free Ready Okaloosa app, and you can call us or email us on our 311 Citizens Information Line. And I want to thank Cox Television for the Okaloosa Today show. Thank you for watching, and happy birthday, Okaloosa.
Thanks for watching Okaloosa Today. Join us again next month to learn about local news and information for Okaloosa County, Fort Walton Beach, and Destin.